Hello, welcome. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Welcome to December 11th on the December Dash, or in the December Dash, I should say. And welcome to Ring Ads for those of you that are new. And happy to have you here. Just going to set up a couple things here real quick. I've got most everything in place, just a couple clicks here, a couple settings, no big deal to get ready for our call in live section here of the call. Today we're going to be talking. We're doing the December Dash. Obviously, we are 11 days in, so we're just over a third of the way. And one of the things that people so easily forget, and I constantly remind you of this, is um, gratitude. And it's a lot more difficult than it sounds. Um, you've heard me say this a lot. I even have a quote card about that because it's that important to me, and it should be that important to you. When your attitude is gratitude, there's no room for anything else. And I've said that for years, and it really does. I mean, anytime you're struggling mentally with anything, it's so easy for us to not let go and or try something different. And it's the equivalent of I'm trying to remember what creature it is. Is it a raccoon? Might be some. I think it's a raccoon. I could be wrong. But if you put something, one of the ways that, and I'm not sure who traps animals this way, but the idea is you put a little bit of food, some kind of a like an acorn or something, whatever a raccoon's going to eat, inside of like a hollowed out tree. So this is like, I don't know, uh, some kind of a primitive hunting. It's not like you're hunting with a rifle, but the idea is the animal reaches in and grabs the nut or grabs the food basically, right? And when they make their fist, the hollowed out tree is actually the hole. It's bigger on the inside. It's like a bulb on the inside, and the the whole entryway where the hand or the paw or whatever was stuck through is smaller. So when they make that fist, they can't pull their fist out until they let go of the object. But the thing is that instinct will not let them let go of the food, and so the hunter comes right up to the tree and whacks them in the head, and they're done. And I can't even remember what type of an animal that is that does that. But they're stubborn. I can tell you that. And the thing is stubbornness is a double-edged sword. It can work to your advantage. It can work to your disadvantage. More times than not, stubbornness will work to your disadvantage, right? Um, because it means when you do get hung up on, even if it's only on a rare occasion, you really get hung up, right? You're not going anywhere. You're not going to let go of that piece of food. So it's interesting. I'm not saying we're all animals and that we all think that way. However, our instinct and our primitive brains, when we get into the nitty gritty of building the agency, right? Then we get on the phone, and all of a sudden it just feels like to us it's part of our excuse me, it's part of our routine now. It's part of our grind, as some people might call it. That's, I mean, when you have when you're at that stage mentally with it, there's no gratitude there. It's nowhere to be found. And that's why this is kind of like not a wake up call, but a reminder, friendly reminder from someone who has been there. And I can tell you, in some of my darkest hours, gratitude is probably the only thing that saved me. Seriously. And sometimes it doesn't even it's not even it doesn't even have to be manifested internally. Sometimes it's an outward or an outside influence, and that's cool because you're actually able to um, get help. It's like a form of getting help, even though maybe you didn't ask for it or realize you needed it at the time, that kind of a thing. But it's super important. So attitude is gratitude. There's no room for anything else. But only when, only if, and only when your attitude is gratitude. So how do we shift into a gratitude? Well, part of that comes from adding that to your checklist when you're doing a state change. Yeah, right. I mean, you have to be aware that you are in a certain You have to be much more aware of what's going on with you day to day mentally, and not just aware, right? The next step is you have to be able to admit that to yourself. You have to be man enough or woman enough to say, I'm thinking like a shithead right now, right? You have to be able to say that about yourself without saying it from a place of disgust or hate, almost as if like someone you cared about is just not doing well mentally today, and you're looking right at them, going, "What's going on?" Right? That kind of a thing, right? You gonna be okay? What's going on? And you need to do that internally. You got to do that to yourself, or do that for yourself, really. And when you do, so now you've become aware of it, you've owned it, right? You got to take ownership, right? So it's not just take responsibility, however you want to say it. Responsibility, ownership. To me, it's all the same. Um, and own it fully. Well, it's because because if you start justifying, well, it's because of this and because I'm acting kind of shitty. No, 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 no. Get real. You gotta get. It's tough. I'm not crazy. I know that. But you have to admit that. You have to be the one to admit that. That's why, like when people say, "Oh, I did this and did that," and I'm like, "No, not like that. You didn't." Yeah, I did. No, it was more like this way, right? I'm very specific about that, and then the other person comes correct, if you will. It's what I call coming correct. So until you come correct, or until you come into alignment with what actually happened, and describing it in great detail. And the reason some people justify the justification, which is, well, the reason I didn't say that was because I was, no, get real. You either did or you didn't do something. Nobody's going to punish you or send you to the friggin', Bastille or Gulag or something. Like, what's going on? Just, you got to look at, hey, John, congrats on the client too, by the way. Saw that. You got to get real on um, what's actually going on, right? That's why I'm very, very particular about when I ask you a question, any question, but specifically questions about what you did, what you haven't done, and not just in the business, but um, what you think about something. Um, if I ask you to retell a story of your experience with a client call and it went down this way, but the recording very clearly shows that it went down the other way, or a version of the way you're talking about, and it's not, the way you explained it is not 100% accurate. Those details you're leaving out intentionally because you don't want to come correct with that. You don't want to admit that to yourself, not to me, because I don't get any pleasure out of hearing any of it. But let's face it, if you need to get right with something, then you need to get right with something, because if you don't, guess what's going to happen again? The same thing. We repeat the same patterns, right? It's built into us. It's our instinct, um, and that's not going to change until we start up here, right? We have to become aware. We have to take full ownership. There are times where I'll give you a perfect example. There are times where uh, I've been in a place where something happened. Actually, somebody asked me yesterday because I had a Facebook page that was hacked and everything, and I'm in the middle of recovery from it. But it's a real pain, right? It's a real pain in the ass to deal with that, because Facebook doesn't actually have any great options for recourse. And the ones that they do have actually aren't currently working for me. And so I'm in the middle of dealing with their support staff, which is practically non-existent and fully automated almost at every turn. So it's possible to do what I need to do. The point is, somebody asked me, well, what happened? I was like, I don't know. Somebody, hacked my account. I don't know. And so I changed my password. I implemented 2FA, all kinds of stuff. Like I maxed out security, went through and changed all my other shit too, just so that I'm solid, right? And that's a major inconvenience right in the middle of me trying to do everything else that I've got planned and trying to do. So, but shit like that pops up, right? And the person asked me yesterday, well, who's responsible? And he wasn't asking from a place of me taking ownership, but I immediately took ownership of it. And I said, well, I am. And he goes, wait, what do you mean? I was like, I didn't hack myself, right? Like, but at the same time, did I have all the security measures I could have had in place? No. And at the end of the day, at the very end of the day, who chose to use Facebook as a platform? I did. I mean, and listen, when you take full ownership of something like that, it's really, really, you come from a really, really strong place, a place of strength. Meaning there's not really much you can do to mess with me at that point, if anything at all. Because now it's like, I know what I did. I own it. Even the things that are seemingly not mine to own, but in reality actually are. I did choose to use the platform Facebook. I mean, there's no now. You could say I had a lack of choice or a lack of options while making my choice. You could say that. And again, to me, that's where that whole justification shit starts. You could say this, you could say that. Well, you could, but, and this and that, and then caveat, no, just own it. Just fucking own it, right? And then deal with it, because it's much easier for me to say, well, it's my fault on that one. You know what I mean? And say, well, because now once you say, okay, it's my fault, or oops, oopsie, my bad. Now it's, what do I do, right? Because immediately your mind shifts to, what do I do? And then you go and you do what you got to do, and you really don't have um, a huge burden. Does that make sense? There's not a lot of energy spent there crying and moping about it. There's not a lot of anger. There's not a lot of anything except like, well, what's next? You know, what's on the to-do list today? What's on the agenda for today? And you get it done. Now, am I saying it wasn't an inconvenience? Absolutely not. It was an inconvenience. It was a pisser for sure. I wasn't happy about it. At the same time, though, you got to own it, and it helps you move through it much, much faster. Like, I've seen videos of actually in my recovery journey here, my Facebook page recovery journey here. Don't worry, the Ring Ads page is fine. Um, I've seen people actually freak out on video, like all over YouTube and the net, and everybody, the words people are using to write posts and describe. It's crazy how freaked out people are because how attached they are to the asset they built. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I put in work. I'm gonna get it back, and I know that, so I'm not worried about that. So that's not really on my mind. So why waste the energy blaming, pointing fingers? Takes so much energy to point that finger as much as it does to just go, it's me. You know, at the end of the day, it all stems back to me and my decisions. And what do I do about it now? And that's because we can't control what other people do, right? Can't control what other people do. You can only control our actions, our thoughts, our feelings, right? So if that's the case, well, then I own it. I'm going to own everything. So that way, uh, it's my decision on where we go from here, right? Or where I go from here. It makes a huge difference in your business and how you handle the business, actually, all your entire life. You're able to process things faster, um, get through things faster, some seemingly insurmountable objects and challenging times. You're able to get through those things a lot faster, a lot better, a lot more unscathed or without a scratch in a lot of cases. And other people just completely get mangled, maimed, paralyzed, um, business death, right? Just all kinds of stuff. So it's super important to own that. Now, once you've owned that, and I'm kind of walking you through the steps here. Once you've owned that, you've taken that responsibility and fully owned it, and there's no justifications. If you catch yourself justifying, tell yourself that's a bunch of bullshit, even if it sounds silly at first, right? In fact, you should be finding, and anytime your mind pops up with a justification, you should be finding ways to disprove it, and you'll find them almost immediately, right? Well, there's only so many communities that I could use as a platform, right? That's not true. I can go on Google right now and close my eyes and throw a rock, man, and hit, hundreds of thousands probably of communities or platforms to build a community on. It just happens that I chose Facebook. I mean, that's what it all comes back to. So uh, I can fight against that idea as much as possible with justifications, but it's a futile fight, right? It's pointless. It's a moot point, whatever. Um, so that's what I have to say about that. Now, ownership uh, is not the end. Now it shifts into what do I do about it? Because you got to do something, or maybe nothing. Sometimes it's maybe I need to wait. Maybe it's play a wait game. Is there anything I need to do? No, just wait for a couple weeks. Somebody's going to get back to me. Okay, cool. Put it on the back burner, right? Now, sometimes with all that energy saved, you're still lacking a bit of gratitude, right? Because something bad just happened or whatever, and you took ownership, you dealt with it. Um, so where do you go from there, right? How do you feel? How do you just spontaneously grow a bunch of gratitude? Like, does your heart grow like the Grinch, in the Grinch, or what? Like, well, what I tend to do is find something or someone or a combination of that I care about, and I invest in it. So, for example, I have a few friends. Um, I've got some family. I've got my puppy. I say my puppy. She's 6 years old. She's my puppy though, right? Um, I've got you guys. Think about that for a second. I've got you guys, and there's times where it may be brief, but there are times where I'll go and look at what you guys are doing. I'm not saying I don't do that all the time. What I'm saying is in this mindset where I don't go looking to help more than I do looking to see what you've accomplished and put myself in not a bragging mode, but a mode of, man, look at what we were able to accomplish. I'm so glad that I did that whole series of decisions, ring ads, right? Um, and everything that led up to that even. And now, before I can even get 2 minutes into that, I'm so full of gratitude. I got a smile on my face, and I'm jamming on the next thing. My tank is filled, right? Just like that. But you seek out the ones you love, the ones you care about, things you care about, causes you care about, and you find other people do. You'll find a lot of gurus recommend doing what do you call a greatest hits list? Have you ever heard of that, or a highlight reel? Kind of like if you ever watch a sports like ESPN or Sports Center or anything, they have highlight reels where it's like all the top plays, top 10 plays from this week or whatever, and the plays are all of them pretty good, but they get better and better and better till they get down to the number one play of the week, and you could have your own highlight reel. People do that with documentation on like just a Google Doc, writing it out, like all the things that you've accomplished, all the things you've done. We've talked about that, looking in the rearview mirror briefly, not staring at it, but being able to look at it and go, damn, that's awesome, and keep moving, right? Gratitude, though, comes in handy from not just recognizing your own achievements, but uh, being grateful for what's been achieved outside of you, externally, right? Whether you were a part of it or not, if that makes sense, right? Or if you help facilitate it, right? And then sometimes it's just a good old, give your dog a good scratching, right? For me, anyway. Um, just work on that, focus on that, because what happens is now that you're in a state of gratitude, it sounds like it takes a long time to do that. It's a very fluid process. It really is. You stop, you get upset about the profile or whatever's going on in your world, right? And okay, that's not gonna um, that's not gonna work for me. So whose fault is it? First thing you want to do is instinctively blame somebody else, right? Not going to do that. So what do I do? Take ownership for it. Got it. Make sure I take full ownership for it. No justifications. Disprove the justifications, which what's funny is justifying very rarely ever comes up for me anymore. Very rarely. And the reason it doesn't come up for me anymore, hardly at all, is because I've already told myself so many times that I don't need it. I don't need that. What I need is progress and moving forward more than I do to explain what I've been doing to myself, or what the choices are that I've made, or why it could have been, and speculate, right? Speculation, mental masturbation, it's not worth your time. It really isn't. Not compared to the action that you could have already created. So I let go of that immediately and move on to what do I do? And then if I need to fill the tank with the gratitude, I fill the tank with the gratitude. And in within 5 minutes from a really shitty scenario or situation that would have possibly crippled someone else for a day or weeks, I'm able to move. I'm able to move very quickly based on that. Even in times of like uh, sustained uh, mental barrage of attacks, if you will, like depression or I'm one of the like uh, when I'm depressed, I'm one of the most active depressed people you'll ever meet in your life. You're like, you wouldn't know any better. You wouldn't know any different, right? When I'm happy, it's the same thing. Like that doesn't change because of how I choose to operate, right? The business operates autonomously from that. Now, are there days where there's just stuff that doesn't get done like I would if I was as happy? Absolutely. So it does affect performance, things like depression and all that. However, nothing stops, because if it stops, you're as good as dead in that case, right? It's kind of the point. So, how do you keep from stopping? What keeps you going? What's fuel for the fire? It's the gratitude, 100%. And there's been many a time that gratitude has saved my ass. And hopefully, now that I've taught you a little bit and shared a little bit of stuff personally from my experiences to you, you'll be able to it'll be able to save your ass too, right? Um, so yeah, that's uh, that's what I have to say about gratitude and how to find it, how to not only find it but use it and get to a place where you can even find it. A lot of people get stuck on that, not even not even admitting to themselves what really happened, what really went down, right? Or thinking, or have already told themselves a lie, right? That it went down this way and it actually went down another way. Good news is, at least when it comes to this business, you're not going to be able to get away with a lot of that stuff. So I call you on it, and that sometimes is uncomfortable. I get that. I'm not doing it to be confrontational more than I am to make sure that you're in alignment with what you actually say that you want, right? Which is an agency, right? That's being built and constantly being worked on, because the things that people will tell, I swear, the things that people say to themselves, the things that people say to themselves and convince themselves of, and then try to convince me of, I followed the script. Okay, call recording, and then we listen to the call recording, not following the script, and it's kind of like where, and I have I have traveled all over the world, and there's one time, it's not the only time it's happened, but one case in particular, uh, someone got a few clients and was doing just a bang up job, doing great. I get there, 2 weeks has gone by, nothing's happening before I get there, and so when I get there, oh, I don't know what's going on. I'm following the script. I said, okay, let's do this. Let's have you. Let's do this, right? Let's have you make a few phone calls, and I'm just going to sit here, and I'm going to sit far enough back where I'm not like all up in your shit, over your shoulder, doing that whole thing, whatever that is, eyeballing you to death, right? I'm just going to sit back casually, and that's what I did. I went and I sat down on the couch in the living room and prop my feet up like I was, relaxing on vacation, kind of, just so that he could see that guard is down, defenses are down, but my mind was fully on, right? My brain was fully on, and I just observed and I took notes, right? And I took notes to where I didn't start taking notes until after I had notes to take, but I didn't take them until after he started. That way he wouldn't see me, right? It's not like I made it obvious. So I'm taking notes, and I'm doing it like this real quick, and I'm just writing this down, writing that down, maybe one or two words, because I can't, like I said, keep writing, especially if he's trying to look over here at me. And I keep telling him, don't worry about me. I'm good, right? That thing to where it's disarming, and he goes and does his thing, right? He gets on the phone. And three calls go by, and then I can just, he's sitting at the desk, and he does one of these, right? And it's like a long thing. Sometimes you'll see me like rub my eyes or do that, and that's just me, like, because I stare at screens all day long, and I've got some things going on, right? My eyes, I had surgery. I had LASIK surgery done, or excuse me, PRK, which is not exactly the same thing. But I live in the desert, so my eyes get dry. Actually, I've woken up before, and my eyelids have been not completely stuck to my eyeball, but stuck. And when I open it, it goes ugh, like it's a stuck door. It sucks. And I stay hydrated like a mother too. But long story short, I rub my eyes. But this guy was just doing, looked like one of the. You could have you could have taken a picture and made a picture out of it, and he stayed there, like he was just not crying or nothing or sad. He was just not happy. He was not in a good state after those three calls. And I said, okay, that's cool. That's enough, right? Let's talk for a second. Uh, and I said, you got those call recordings? He's like, yeah. And I said, so you're following the script. I didn't ask him. I just kind of agreed with him. I said, so you're following the script, and you're having some issues here. So, um, first off, let's talk about something. What's the one thing I tell you to always have in front of you at all times, at least in a physical form, preferably in a physical form, but at least in the form of a screen that's dedicated. In other words, you never have a screen that goes. If you're going to have a script on screen instead of in your hand, obviously, at that point there's the answer. But you have to have a dedicated screen for the script then, right? For the sales script. And he was like, I was like, so where's your sales script then? And he's like, oh, it's on this tab back here, and he pulls up, two or three whatever. It took him two or three clicks to find it, and I was like, now if you were on the phone in the heat of battle, right? Would you be able to pull that up fast enough? No, you would not. Okay. So and find your place. Okay, so you're totally fucked right out of the gate. Now we've got that fixed. How about let's print a copy like William asked you to? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's start with that. All right, now second, uh, and this is just how out of alignment is my point. Like, oh, I'm following the script. I'm following the script. Okay, you don't even know where the fucking script is, right? Like, let alone where you're at in it. So now let's you got those recordings, pull up the recordings. Okay, let's listen to the first one. And what I want you to do is listen to the call recording with me, and we'll listen to the first, I don't know, 60 seconds, because I knew right out of the gate he wasn't following the script. So he listens, we listen to it, and I say, okay, hit pause for a sec. I say, are you following the script? Now I ask him, right? Because now there's no excuse. He's got the script in front of him. He knows exactly what he's looking at, and he's got a call recording of him that was just on the phone 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, of today's effort. And I'm there in person in front of this guy. I say, are you following the script? Not setting him up, just asking straight up. Now, are you following the script? And he goes, well, yeah. And I went, what? No, you're not. Like, straight, like, of course I got upset, like, not super upset. It's not like I ripped his head off, but I was like in disbelief and complete shock that somebody that has the words in front of their face, and an audio recording of their voice from 15 fucking minutes ago. It's not like they can't remember that conversation. You know what I'm saying? Plus they're hearing it with me observing the entire thing. You see how, like, I get about that, right? Because that's how out of alignment this guy was. He was in a completely different reality. It's an alternate reality if you do not come correct. And that's kind of my point. All the decisions you make, all the thoughts you have that are negative and bullshit are based off of, in almost every case, an alternate reality that's just not, it's not reality. It's not reality. So I had to bring this guy back to reality. I said, okay, when I say follow the script, what does that mean to you? Uh, well, say what's on Okay, well then play the recording again and show me with your finger. As it, you ever watch Mickey Mouse or Disney Channel, Follow the Bouncing Dot? Show me with your finger, your index finger, on this script as we hit play, you following this script. And he couldn't do it. And I said, are you following the script? Now I'm definitely setting him up, right? Because it's just bringing him into alignment on that. And I know I get worked up about it, but it's at the same time, like, that's super fucking important. Not because he wasn't following the script and now he is, right? But because of what it led to, right? Not taking ownership of what was actually fucking going on. Not even, I won't say caring to do the due diligence, but not even in a place where giving himself the benefit of the doubt. Well, maybe I should, where's the script at? Let me take a look. Let me listen in. Yeah, I'm following the script. He just made assumptions that, of course, he's following the script, because why would he be doing this if he wasn't following the script, right? Now, call it pride, call it whatever. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is the misalignment that happened, and it can happen on not just following the script or not. It's one of the main reasons why I say follow the training. There's a ton that goes into the mindset that drives everything. I'm going to say it over and over again. Might as well hear me say it one more time. Your mindset will drive everything in this business model, right? And the decisions you choose to make, including decisions like, I'm following the script and you're not following the script, or um, I built out an agency site, but I didn't do it exactly how William teaches. For whatever reason, I don't give a shit what the reason is. Okay, uh, ClickFunnels has a, listen. You can prefer to use any other platform. There are a ton of platforms out there. Um, that's fine, right? If you're using another platform and expecting the same results that I can get, or that I can get you, or expecting me to be able to help you and support you with that agency site beyond absolute basics like what's on the actual page, I can't do it. Not because I don't want to. It's not possible. It's not possible for me to support that because I know what works. I have what works. I have something that works. Is it the only thing? Probably not, but it's one that I know works and I focus on that. Otherwise, everybody else pays the price, right? So, because now my focus is shifted. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that to you or to anyone. Um, and at the same time, if it produces results, it's a guaranteed lock. Why would you bet against it? Why would you chance it, right? Sometimes you'll win. Sometimes you'll win that bet. Sometimes you think you won that bet, and then 3 months later you start to realize, oh shit, now I see why he built that template. Okay, could have took my word for it 3 fucking months ago. You know what I'm saying? But getting right with that is more my point, because it's not about any one thing that you may do wrong, because that can be corrected. Like, just because you didn't build it originally in ClickFunnels doesn't mean you can't come back and build it. Okay. At the same time, you don't want to have to learn that lesson the hard way, or learn it down the road when it'll cost you more money, more time. I mean, that's a bad thing, right? And then you've got to really get super honest with yourself, right? About whose responsibility it was, why, what to do next, um, and then fill yourself with the gratitude, right? So anyway, um, super important points. I'll leave it at that. It really does make a huge difference, because again, if you're in alignment with what you actually are doing, and no justifications, anything like that, you've double checked, triple checked yourself. Then when it comes time to hold on a second. Oh, sorry, thought I heard something. Anyway, when you are in alignment, then it's going to be very easy for you to um, uh, what's the words I'm looking for here? When you're in alignment, it's going to be very easy for you to move forward. There we go. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. It's going to be very easy for you to move forward to the next um, challenge, to the next thing, and get done what you need to get done. And the earlier you do that, the more often you do that, the better life is going to be for you. Not just in the business model, but everything you do, everything you do in your life, every communication interaction you have with people, less fights will happen, less disagreements and arguments will happen because you're taking ownership for things that, uh, again, if you have an argument with someone, you got to take full ownership of it. Take full ownership for the entire argument. Take it not away from them, but take responsibility. Even though you could justify, see how that so easily goes there. They did start it, or they did mention this, or they did say that. No, no, no. Take full ownership of that conversation, right? Take full ownership of that conversation and the fact that you were there and part of it. And had you not been, then it wouldn't have even happened. Forget about their actions, what they said, what they didn't say, how they reacted, whatever. That's on them. You can't control that. What you can control and take full ownership of is what you did and didn't do and all that kind of stuff, right? That's that's it. That's the magic. And then obviously searching for the gratitude, running that process, add that to the bottom of your checklist there. I say the bottom towards the end of your checklist for state change usually works really well. You're able to rebound a hell of a lot faster. By the way, the guy that I just described in that process later that day, and I don't mean like hours and hours later, I mean within an hour, hour and a half, after not following the script at all, not having it on his screen or in sight, to swearing up and down he was following the script, to having to come to the realization that he wasn't even fucking close, right? To an hour and a half, 2 hours later, closing 3 clients in a day, and over the next few days, got up to 9 clients. Isn't that crazy? And he was at 3 originally. We quadrupled his business before I left, right? That's pretty cool when you can do something like that. So anyway, pretty cool, I think. Quadruple somebody's business because they get now. Did this guy learn the lesson that I'm teaching you, the overarching lesson about the attitude and his gratitude? When your attitude is gratitude, no, did not. Which means he fell victim to the next hurdle he ran into, whatever that was. I can't remember. Point is, he fell victim to it. Not he didn't. He wasn't able to push through because he didn't hear what I was saying about. It's not about whether he followed the script or not. Yeah, that's a problem. We'll correct it, but let's focus on the root of the problem, right? You don't just, when a foundation has a crack in it, you don't just put some spackle over it and say, call it good. You know what I'm saying? You got to really repair it, fix it. It's going to take some work. Knock out some blocks, reblock everything, make sure that the ground is right and settles right against it, all kinds of shit. You can't just put some spackle on it and call it good. I mean, I guess you could, but good luck with that shit. That house is going to start falling apart or crumble, or walls are going to start, misaligning, and floors and all that. You don't want that, right? Make sure your foundation is solid, right? All right. Let me. Somebody's got a drill, or some kind of noisemaker outside. That's weird. All right. Let me grab the link for the Zoom. I think I've driven my point home. I say that, and then I still, this is probably the most common, by the way, thing that I deal with on a daily basis. It's not any one issue. Obviously, there are common ones like not following the script, uh, not having your head in the right place when it comes to what you've actually accomplished, all kinds of stuff like that. All that is the root of it is what I just described, and attitude is gratitude is a big part of that. It's a very big part of that. All that kind of plays in, and that's probably, I'd say, as far as root causes, that is by far uh, the most biggest challenge, most reoccurring challenge I've seen. It's almost a fucking phenomenon how many people. It's not even. I don't even think it's a phenomenon because it's so common. Everybody does this. Just some people do it a hell of a lot more than others. That's all. So I just posted the Zoom link in the live stream in the Facebook group. Um, and again, I'm not like super upset with anybody or anything about that. It can get frustrating dealing with that on a daily basis and not seeing progress from the other party. That's probably my biggest thing, right? It's people see it as a well, I'm okay uh, enough to get this business done, and they're not realizing the state that they're in. They don't have any kind of gratitude practices in place. There's a lot of things that go into that aren't helping you, right? And it makes my job a lot more difficult to help you if you're not helping yourself first, right? Or at least open to that. At the very least, being open to that. Some people aren't even open to it, or they say they are, and then they end up shutting themselves off, right? And that happens. I get that. But I'd say, I mean, if there was one thing to nail down, right, based on what I just told you, like the biggest challenges I see every day is what I just described. That important. So the link to the Zoom is in the Facebook group comments. By the way, Ring Ads Facebook group, free to join. For those of you that don't know that, you can go to the Facebook search bar, type in Ring Ads, and you'll see a Facebook group called Ring Ads Pay Per Call that's free to join. And then ringads.com is our software, our call tracking and agency management software. And that's also free. You can find that at ringads.com. Or if you have questions in the comments, let me check the comments actually, and then we'll point home. Hold on a second. We'll do what you. This is probably the most common. There we go. Have to expand the window, and every time it unmutes because Facebook's so awesome sometimes. Is this the right one? Yeah, this is the right one. Sunny Sarasota, 74 degrees. Yeah, it was like 37 this morning, actually a little bit lower. David Bennett is with us again. Tim Blank, Steve Taylor, Adrian's here. Art. David's asking, going through that with you, William. I have a second FB ad account as a backup that didn't get hit. It's been a huge problem on Facebook lately. You are not alone. Yeah, see, like, and the thing is it's all about how we handle it, right, my man? I mean, it's all about the process. I mean, there are some people, and I know you know this, especially if I'm not, if everybody's not everybody, if a lot of people are getting hit with that, right? I'm sure you could agree. If you take one look around on YouTube or anywhere on Google, people are freaking out if they've gotten hit like that. Like they're not taking it well. I mean, when's the last time you saw somebody that used a page, had an ad account tied to it with assets in the ad account, including ad history and all that kind of shit, completely gone in an instant and not be in complete freak out mode? Not bragging, I'm just saying it's because I've fucking processed it very, very quickly because I got shit to do, including taking care of you guys. So I can't, if anything, I look at it as I can't afford to the luxury of making justifications and bullshit stories or pointing the finger. I can't afford it. I can't. I don't have it. I don't have it. Can't afford it. Right? Mentally. Anyway, I'm glad to know I'm not alone. And sucks that you got hit as well. But I do have backups. Yeah, that's not a problem. I mean, plenty of ad accounts. That's fine. My thing is one of the pages that I lost is one that is near and dear to me, so I'm gonna get it back. And again, it does have an ad account tied to it, so I'm gonna get that back as well. Hey, there's John. Cool. Not seeing anybody in the Zoom. If you got questions, cool. Come on in. Let's make this thing happen. I don't want to be here for 2-3 hours if we don't have to, right? The phrase Adrian says, trust but verify, that I use a lot on the calls. That's from Ronald Reagan. I like this phrase, and I did some research into it. Some articles online are saying it could potentially offend some people because they may think you don't trust them by saying that, and could destroy relationships. On the flip side, this is business, and the primary focus should be making money. I do feel that results is more important than anything else, as long as it's ethical, respectful, and fair. What are your thoughts on this? I don't want to accidentally offend people by asking them to show me the results. I don't want to accidentally offend people by asking them to show me the results. First off, I'm not sure who you're asking to show you results and what for. But the reason I always say trust and verify is, listen, if you're the kind of person that takes offense to verification, you're probably not good for business. You're not going to do well in business. Verification, like when a cop looks at your ID and verifies that that's you, You take offense to that. If you take offense to any kind of verification for any reason within the legal law, right? I say legal law as in any law that supports verification, including shit like this election that we had in the United States. That's a good one. Really? No verification? If you're screaming for no verification, you're probably not going to do very well in business. I'm just saying. Because you're going to be the first guy or gal that gets totally fucked by somebody who takes advantage of that, right? Not me. I'm just saying there are people out there that will totally rake you over the coals because you did not verify something. So when I say trust, I trust. I'm saying you have my trust, right? Innocent until proven guilty, not guilty till proven innocent. So you have my trust, but I will verify because I'm a good businessman. It's called due diligence. That's another way to say it. I did my due diligence. Did you do your due diligence? Yes, I did. Okay, well, how is that offensive? Anybody that's willing to take offense to that, red flag. Red flag. Big one. As in, keep your eye on them if you even decide to continue moving forward. That kind of red flag. That's how serious it is. Because anybody not willing to submit to verification upon a nice request, a friendly request, um, probably not going to do business with them. I'm just saying because they're not transparent enough in business for me to want to do business with them. Period. Right? Because anything could happen. I don't know because I can't verify. That's what it comes down to. I trust you. I believe you. I believe you. But I have to verify. That's why I do the things that I do. As far as people finding offense to that, like I said, that's a red flag. As far as what you're saying about why you would need to say that to somebody, I don't think there's any reason for you to say that to a client or potential client. Um, but if it comes up again, they shouldn't be taking offense. And if they do take offense, you can tell them exactly what I just told you. It's not meant to be offensive. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I trust you, but as a good businessman, I verify everything. My own mother could be a client, but you bet your ass I'm going to verify everything. Okay? I mean, I'm sorry, but that's business. So sorry, not sorry. Okay? Um, It's not primary focus should not be making money. Yeah, you're gonna make. Listen, uh, everybody says that primary focus of the business should be to be profitable, make money. Ultimately, I guess you're right. Should it be the primary focus though? No. In terms of making, should the ultimate goal of a business to be profitable? Yes. Otherwise, it defeats the purpose. I agree. Should it be the primary focus? No. No. Your people, your systems and processes, the product you deliver, the quality of the product you deliver, all those things, your customer service, all that, those are the priorities. That's the primary focus. That drives the profit. Profit's the end goal, not the primary focus. You got that a little backwards. Um, you do feel that results is more important than anything else as long as it's ethical, respectful, and fair. Uh, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I don't want to accidentally offend people by asking them to show me the results. Um, I don't think you'll accidentally offend them unless you say it offensively. Like you can say trust but verify, um, as a like I do with Ronald Reagan, trust but verify. I trust you. I'm just here to do some verification. That's all. And I'm here to do it with you. I'm not doing it without you. It's not like I'm prying into your business. It's our business, right? If I'm talking to a potential client or a client, shouldn't be an issue. Long story short. Um, Jerry Clark just got off the phone. Hopefully, another sale. We'll post screenshots of other sales soon. Yeah, Jerry, sounds good. Looking forward to it. Uh, I'm not holding my breath. I love you. I ain't seen shit yet. So I'll see it when I see it. I'm done talking about it. Let's see it or not, right? Time to show them. Time to lay shit down. Uh, Muhammad, quick couple of questions. Okay, for one to achieve, God Almighty, why does the comment thing keep jumping? Quick question. For one to achieve a run rate of $10,000 per month profit, not revenue, on average, how many clients would he or she need? I know it varies from industry to industry, but just a rough ballpark would be great. Uh, Base it off of the absolute minimums, $500 profit per month per client. So you'd need 20 clients, right? And that's at a minimum $500 profit per month per client in almost every vertical. And also keep in mind that starting out, there's going to be some time before that kicks in. You're not going to be just $500 profitable out of the gate unless you've already run like an affiliate campaign or a client campaign and started to dial in or optimize the ad campaign. If you haven't done any of that yet, then it's going to take 30 days, 60 days in some cases for lower call volume verticals. So it's still very much a variable that listen, here's what you need to know. Get moving, get clients, answer your own question when it comes to that, right? I can give you that ballpark that I just gave you, and it doesn't help you anymore. It doesn't give you any more of an inkling of where you're wanting to go or where you want to end up than if you'd have just fucking gone and got your first client and then focused on your second and third and so on. Like, just get it done, get going, right? I'm not being an ass. I'm just telling you straight out what you're not coming into alignment with by asking that question. It's speculation. It's mental masturbation. If I did this and that, and then with the time and then you $0. That's what you need to hear. All that means $0. Your first client's what means money, right? Get going. And let me tell you something. There's not a vertical you can go into that I recommend that you would not hit well over 10 grand a month, right? So if that's where your head is at right now, you're not thinking big enough, and also you're not focused on getting shit done. And that's what I need you to do. I need you to start doing. Stop thinking, start doing. You already have all the thinking done for you, my man. Go start doing, okay? That's what that question tells me. The way you worded it, how you worded it, what you're asking, that's what that tells me, okay? I've been there. How do you think I know that? I've been there. I've seen people that have been there. I've helped other people that have been there. All right. Number two, you're asking, could you tell us in some detail what the mentorship program entails? I could, but I don't want to spend all that time doing it. I'll be frank with you. I'm just not gonna do that. What I will do is point you to the Ring Ads Mentorship sales page, and you can find that if you're currently, excuse me, if you're currently a member um, of the Ring Ads software, you can find that in the Upgrades tab. You click on the Upgrades tab inside of the Ring Ads software, and you will see a list of options, including Ring Ads Mentorship. Okay, so when you look for the Ring Ads Mentorship, it'll be clearly labeled either the monthly or an annual, and you'll also see a little blue link beneath each one of those that says what you're getting. And it tells you everything. If you click on that link, it's going to pop up a page that will tell you everything in minute detail that you are getting. Okay. Um, Much faster, much easier for both of us explaining how to do that as opposed to me just going through each item. Um, Especially when there's other questions I want to make sure that I get to. I'm not seeing anybody come into Zoom here, so I'm just going to answer comments and then we're going to bounce because I'm not seeing anything come through here. Um, John Smith, any advice on helping to prevent anyone hacking an AdWords account not thought about before, having seemingly wrongly believed Google had strong defenses? Let me tell you something. Everything's kind of moving, John, to two-factor authentication. If any account you have, including things like Twilio, shit, man, Google, Facebook, practically everything out there, not everything, but practically everything, even registrars like Namecheap and all that, where you host all your important shit, they're going to have two-factor or 2FA, two-factor authentication, which is basically where you can have yourself sent a text or you can do what I call, this is my favorite. It's called the Google Authenticator app, and the code changes. Have you ever? I don't know if you've ever seen the Google Authenticator app, but it basically every 60 seconds the code changes. So you'll see, and these codes are only good for so long, and I'm not going to show them, but you'll see like the little blue countdown, and the wheel right here, the wheels, and it lasts for 60 seconds, and then those 6-digit codes change. So, for example, I've got one here for Coinbase. I've got a bunch actually. I've got Namecheap, Facebook, and so on. So, like, if I wanted to log into Facebook, I would put in my password. It would pop up and say, "What's your 6-digit code?" I would open this app and have to punch in the code in time. 60 seconds, it's plenty of time. It's a 6-digit code as well. So you punch that in, and it's that code has to match, and so that's it. That's what we call two-factor authentication. But two-factor authentication can also be done via emailing to the email account. But if that's been hacked, right, it can also be sent via text message, usually a 6 or 8-digit code in most cases, via text message to a mobile phone that's tied to your account. But that could also be changed. What can't be changed is that authenticator app, right? So it's very useful, right? It's not the highest level of security, but it's up there. It's more than enough to take care of pesky hackers. So anytime, and if you don't know if an account has two-factor authentication, use google.com, search it, or look in the settings. Most cases, accounts, profiles, settings, screens, those things are going to have information about two-factor authentication. Namecheap makes it pretty easy to find because I know they need to keep their shit super secure. Twilio the same way. They keep that. It's pretty easy to find. Facebook is a little more buried because it's Facebook. They're not really that focused on it, but they should be, in my opinion. After the shit I'm going through here, and apparently a lot of other people are too. So yeah, that's what I would say on that. Like, um, if you have accounts that have two-factor authentication and you don't have it enabled, enable it. And that app is so super easy. I mean, we always keep our phones on us too. So anytime I need to log in, there, I've got my two-factor authentication. No waiting on a text message. No waiting on an email. Right? I can go right now. So um, Jerry says screenshots posted, waiting on approval. Cool. I'll get to them at the end of the session. Good job, dude. Hey, I listen, man. I love you. I just there's only so many times I'm going to accept the answer of it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Because most people, and I know you know this, Jerry, uh, most people when they say it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, they ain't actually got it, right? They're bluffing. They're holding nothing in the cards. Now, I expected you to not be bluffing, but I also like, I mean, what are you waiting for? You know what I'm saying? Like, I got points to tally, dude. Like, you're making my life harder. Shit. Post them up. When you get one, post it up. Don't hold it. Don't wait. Don't do nothing. Post it up. Okay. It's going to help everybody. It's going to help me on top of that. Um, but yeah, I'm glad you posted that. I'll get to those. And I do see the notifications. I will get to those as soon as we're done here. Mohammed, thanks, bud. Appreciate it. Hey, Mohammed, I'm telling you straight out. I'm telling you what most people won't tell you, or what most people will sugarcoat or baby you or coddle you. And I'm not slapping you in the face either, right? I just want to be very clear about this. When it comes to the questions and I gave you the answers. I gave you a range, but that's the point. The range is so fucking wide, the answer is not going to satisfy you. It's not going to satiate your curiosity. The only thing about how much money you can make and this and that, the only thing that's going to do that is work, is the effort, is actually fucking doing it. That's it. It's the only thing. That's why I keep coming back to that. And I want to make sure that you come into alignment with that and understand, okay, the reason you don't have the answers to the question is not because William doesn't know the answers, right? You give me more specifics on the question, like you start with identifying the vertical, which is not enough. You start with how many clients you acquire a week. You start with how much you're charging those clients per call. You start with where those clients are in each city. You might as well have gone ahead and just got the clients in those cities. Does that make sense? Like, and started charging for the calls. Otherwise, It's all mental masturbation, okay? All of it. Got to get going. And I'll be here. Hey, if that's why, if you're asking questions because you're worried you're not going to hit that mark, right, of 10 grand a month profit, first off, I can tell you right now, it's one of the easiest things to do is to hit that mark. That should really just be like a milestone number one for you, right? It really is not that difficult. It's not. And if you ever find anything along the way to that first milestone difficult, that's what I'm here for. That's why those are the questions you should be asking me, is kind of my point, right? There are questions that are based off of complete theory and curiosity versus, hey, here's what I've done, here's the problem I'm having, please help. Totally different, right? And one gets stuff done and the other one is still stuck in that not getting anything done mode. Robert is asking, how high would you go for CPC on water damage keywords? I priced my calls at 250 and the business owners I spoke to are okay with that price. CPC as in damage keywords. So for keywords, you go until it's no longer profitable. I mean, in that particular vertical, you're going to find things to be more expensive in the off season, which is now. And don't get me wrong, there's still going to be calls, just not like there are in storm season, right? And so spring, summer, and fall. In the winter, you still have things like pipes freezing, shit like that. But it's not going to be as it's not going to be as many calls. Call volume is going to be lower, which means costs are going to be higher. Plus, in that vertical, call volume tends to be lower than other verticals, comparatively speaking, which means also the cost per click, even to drive a phone call, is going to be substantially higher than, you're not going to drive a bunch of $3 phone calls like you could do pest control easily in your sleep, right? In season pest control anyway. And when it comes to water damage, yeah, it's going to be more like an average of 20 to 30, but as high as 40. And that all comes from running the keywords at the bid bumping strategy with the bid bumping strategy I teach you until the keywords are no longer profitable, right? So the idea is if you want to squeeze out as much call volume as possible, you're going to have some keywords that convert at $5, believe it or not, even in water damage. You're going to have some, not many though, you're going to have some that convert at $10 and $20 and $30. You're going to have one or a few that convert at $100. But when they convert, right? And it's still profit. There's still profit. There's still room for you to do that. Am I saying you just bid whatever's? No, that's not the bid strategy. If you follow the bid strategy doing that, you'll be fine, right? You'll be fine. And that it goes way beyond $40. I mean, there's some keywords you'll probably be bidding 40 or $50 on at some point, especially in the off season, that will drive a profit, right? As long as you keep dialing in the campaign, as long as you keep optimizing the campaign as you go, right? So as far as 250 for the price, I mean, it's a bit low. But it's a good deal, right? It's a good deal for good call quality, no doubt. Scott, you should have the Google Authenticator and Microsoft Authenticator apps. Yeah, I do. I do. I just showed the Google Authenticator. I use Authy owned by Twilio. Art says an Authenticator app just like Google, Microsoft, etc. Where those work. Authy works. Cool. Thanks for sharing that. Thanks, William. We'll get that. Yeah, super helpful having the Authenticator app. I don't know. To me, it's just more convenient. I also have actually, I don't know if you guys see this or not. This is my personal private security. This is called a YubiKey, YUBI. That right there. This is called a YubiKey. It's got a little ring on it because I wanted to be able to attach it to a keychain, but it's USB. And it's made so that obviously I have a USB-C adapter here to USB. So I plug it into the USB port like I would any other regular USB device, right? Just like that. And then This goes into the computer. It's USB-C, and it's out of the computer right now. You'll notice because I only verify so much on the personal computer. But the idea is this: like when I'm hot and heavy in between accounts and whatnot, there's this metal end. I don't know if you can see that. See that gold-looking metal end right there? That's attached to the ring. That is actually touch sensor 2FA. Touch sensor 2FA. I use this a lot for my crypto and things like that, and also high security accounts that I don't want anybody having access to at all. But I use that to where if I'm logging in, I got to type in the password and it's going to say um, it's going to ask for 2FA. So I use my app for all my crypto, and then it's going to say please touch your little YubiKey thing, right? So I've got to plug that in. It's going to recognize, the computer's going to recognize it. Then I touch it, it lights up green. Actually, right here, there's like a little tiny little LED thing, lights up green, and I'm golden, right? Green and I'm golden. Green for go, right? And that logs me into my accounts, and that keeps people, like, even if my computer, which highly unlikely based on what I've got set up, but still possible, I guess, right? I mean, nothing's impossible, but highly unlikely that somebody's going to break into the computer. But even if they did, that fucking thing's not there. It's not connected. Good luck. Good luck. Have fun looking through Ring Ad live streams recordings and shit. You know what I'm saying? Good luck with everything else, man. I'm just saying. Um, Security is important, and I think that thing costs like 40 bucks, maybe 50 bucks. But again, the security it provides you, the peace of mind it provides you. You can tell I'm a happy camper, right? I'm pissed more than anything that I just, again, my fault. I didn't see how I take full responsibility. I don't even think about it anymore. It's just like it's my fault. It's a short circuit. It's immediately it's my fault. I'm not beating myself up. I'm just saying I own it. Uh, and it's true. Did I ever once look at Facebook's security settings? I'm sure somewhere back in the day I did, but only as they updated or announced that they updated. I never looked to see if they had 2FA. I never even thought to look until I get hacked. And that's kind of the point. It's like, well, I had that one coming. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just nothing else to say except just to do what you got to do, right? Move on. And I don't mean move on and feel badly about it. I mean, move on and find the gratitude. You know what? I'm grateful because it allowed me the opportunity to go in and not only see what everybody else is dealing with. I'm grateful because it gives me the opportunity to show you um, the lessons of how to apply the gratitude on top of everything. So I'm grateful for that. It's just funny because I'm grateful to be able to share the gratitude. Interesting. And teach the gratitude. But it works. It really does. I'm also very grateful for the fact that all the stuff that's come from it, meaning, when you got a page taken away like that and ad accounts attached and there's assets, it's like, oh, did I have everything backed up? It's kind of like a double check. And it's like, oh, well, I didn't on this piece, but I know where I can find it. I'll download it and make sure I have a backup of it. So it's kind of like, thanks for making sure I have all my ducks in a row and all the backups in place to where recovery is simple. You know what I mean? Like that, and it's also reassuring because it's like, well, it's not like anything I lost, I can't replace, right? And it was very valuable to me, very comforting because most people, like I said, after I got through looking around on recovery, people are freaking out, and I mean freaking out, like hyperventilating, freaking out. Not me. Why? Because I had all that stuff in place. The gratitude comes in because it was a good double check. I'm able to share the lesson with you guys and teach you how I process that, and just a lot of benefits come from that. A ton, right? When's the last time you ever heard me talk about a YubiKey? Never, ever, actually. I don't think I've ever talked about it. Not because I'm that private about it, but just because it's never come up in conversation, and it's something I don't take for granted. Obviously, because it's my security, but it's how often are we going to talk about security? So I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to show those kinds of things and have them come up in conversation, all because had my Facebook account not got jacked about that 2FA, then I'm also grateful. Think about this for a second. Could it have been worse? Yeah, I could right now not be live streaming to you. I could right now be completely locked out of all of my accounts. I caught him, caught the fucker in the act. You know what I mean? I caught him with his hand in the cookie jar, and I got him. So limited damage, right? Limited scope of damage. That's important. I'm great, and to be grateful for that. I'm very grateful for that. Right in the middle of the December dash, could you imagine? That would have sucked so bad, right? And I still would have, I guarantee you, I still would have found not a silver lining, some people call it that. Um, I still would have adapted and found the benefits from it and the gratitude from it happening, right? Everything's a lesson. Got to be grateful for the lessons, not ungrateful, because lessons are there to teach us so that we don't have to relearn them later. Some of us, though, seem dead set on not learning those lessons the first time, and that's kind of what I'm getting at when I teach you. Hey, just because you're not following the script, that's not actually the biggest problem. The biggest problem is the root of it, because guess what? Going to happen again. It's going to happen again. You're going to relearn that root lesson over and fucking over again, unless you hear me out. Most people get stuck on he's just talking about the business, right? And I'm not. Sometimes I am, and I make that very clear. Hey, when it comes to the business, this is where you're at. This is what needs to be done. Here's the root of what caused that, though, which is more important. So in other words, I give you the answers that you're wondering about so that you can put your mind at ease. Now you need to keep your mind open and hear what I'm saying that caused the entire fucking thing to begin with and will cause future problems from here on, because that's how you're built. Okay. Uh, it's incredible how detailed you are when it comes to answering our questions and allaying our fears and concerns. Truly is a breath of fresh air to see someone as genuine and straight up as you, sir. Grateful to be here. See, I'm. That's the right attitude, brother. I appreciate you. I very much do. And thank you for the compliments. I mean, it's always great to get compliments, I guess, but um, I do my best, right? My goal is to see you succeed, and I also recognize that a lot of us, and not just you guys, me too, right? Me included, get in our own way at times. And I want to be there to, because I know the journey so well, right? I know this journey like the back of my hand. I've taken it so many times. I've worn multiple pairs of shoes out, right? Taking the same path, taking people down the same path and over again. And I just want you to not have to stumble the whole way or fall and quit, give up, turn around, go back. I've seen people do that. There's nothing I can do about that except do the best that I can do and be here to keep you not honest, but you know what I'm saying. I say keep you honest. That's an expression. It's not actually that anybody's dishonest, but the word would be integrity, self integrity. Oh, I have integrity. Oh, I'm not challenging anybody's integrity, because there's integrity, which is someone else can count on you or can count on what you're saying, right? Or that's integrity. Self integrity is, are you bullshitting yourself, or are you real with yourself? And I'll tell you right now, so many people, and I know because I used to be one of them, had have integrity, but no self integrity, or very little self integrity, because they think so little of themselves to have it. And it requires infinitely more work and infinitely more awareness and ownership and responsibility and acceptance than self integrity does, than integrity does. To me, integrity is second nature. It's breathing. There is no option to not do something without the integrity, right? It's got to be there. But when it comes to self integrity, I got to work at it. I got to work at it, and we all do, really. But it allows you to live a more fulfilled life, more peaceful life. Um, you're not as angry all the time. You can help more people, right? You get flustered and upset by the things that actually matter on top of it. You're not worried about stupid shit like a Facebook account. You're worried about whether somebody's going to succeed in building a six-figure business or not within the next few months, and what's keeping them from doing it. It allows me to focus on the real shit that's important, which in this case is you folks. So I do my best, and I appreciate that. I'm grateful that you're grateful to be here. That is the right attitude um, on getting not called out, but getting being shown what most people don't want to see. And it's so funny, not funny, haha, but funny, strange. Like I'm a mirror in a lot of cases where I just put up I might as well just go ahead and get a mirror and just put it up in front of the camera, uh, because that's exactly what I'm doing is I'm showing you what you're thinking, who you are as a person, um, how you're processing, how you're dealing with stuff. That's it, right? That's it. It's just a mirror. Most of what everybody else thinks or says or does is a projection of what's going on with them. So when I talk about self integrity, notice I don't just say you, because if I did, by the way, you'd be able to tell, well, obviously he's got a problem with his own self integrity. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so focused on it and tell us about it. Now, I'm the kind of guy that's transparent enough to just flat out tell you, hey, we all have to work on the self integrity, me included, right? And notice how that doesn't like, it's not me beating myself up. I'm not throwing myself under the bus or anything, but I'm telling you 100%, right? I'm not holding anything back on that. And I can give you many examples, right, if needed, of all the times that I've done that in conversation where most people, when they're speaking to someone else or they're saying something mean or even positive, they're projecting what they're feeling about themselves or what they're thinking about themselves in most cases, almost every case. There are people that will admit that, and then there are people up front, and then there are people that won't, right? There are people that won't. I will always do that. Uh, Thank you so much. Robert says, I've been running at $20 to $50 max CPC. I thought I was doing something wrong. Thank you for the confirmation. No, no, I mean, um, you might be doing something wrong because the way you described, here's the red flag for me, Rob. Um, the uh, the way you described $20 to $50 max CPC, as long as you're saying that that's the range that you currently have keywords bidding at based on what I've taught you for the bid strategies, then okay. But the way that's worded makes me think it's possible, not likely or anything, but possible that you're not bidding the way I taught you to. And if you're not, I would highly suggest you review those practices, specifically the below first page bid strategy, and get into alignment with that if you're not currently. Just a heads up on that, friendly heads up. Just based on the way that's worded, it looks like it's possible, right? Um, Not even likely, just possible. There's a possibility because of how it was worded. And plus, you also, in a couple of your comments, have not mentioned anything about the below first page bid strategy by name. And most people that follow that strategy tend to mention it by name. Not saying that you're not. I'm just also pointing out things that I tend to notice. So it's a not a likelihood, but a possibility, right? Okay. Nobody in the Zoom, really? No questions? Should have been talking so much and into deep thought that I didn't even start my drink yet. Oh, good, good, good. Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions? Let me know what's on your mind, and I'll help you answer that. But we're 20 minutes over, so I don't want to go too much longer over. If no one has any questions or needs any help with anything, if you've got questions about your calls, client acquisition specifically, campaigns, right? Strategy, not that I don't want to take those questions, but let's face it, most of us right now are at that point where that should be the last thing on our mind. It's there. Just know that it's there. I'm not avoiding it. I've answered strategy so many times it's not even funny. But those questions don't help you make money today, right now. Help you start building a business today, right now. What does are questions about the agency building, client acquisition, right? And then ultimately, some of you are in a place where you can start thinking about scaling, but very few of you, right? So if you have questions, I'm here. let's make it a last call. I'm going to do that. Let's make it a last call, and we'll bounce out of here. We'll get to work. It's Friday. There's plenty for us to work on. I'd say right now it's like early afternoon, East Coast. Yeah, it's probably time for prospecting to be done and for you to start working right now. Just heads up, schedule wise. Uh, Now's the time for you to shift over to systems and processes for the weekend. We'll probably covering that over the weekend. Um, Catch up on systems and processes, uh, putting the campaigns up for clients that we currently acquired throughout this past week or over the last couple days. Um, Optimizing campaigns, making sure that's super dialed in. Again, systems and processes for all the above, and just kind of a quick assessment of where we're at and what we're doing for next week, right? Our to-do list for next week, and lining up the sessions, and setting up the schedule. That's what that's what it takes. It's not going to take that long. It's just stuff we need to do, right? So, um, cool. All right, I'm not seeing any other questions, so I guess we're good based on that. So many people. Chris Jones, appreciate your Facebook Live session today. Appreciate you too, man. Listen, I know this is. I'm just going to say this and leave you with it. I'm just gonna leave this right here. Okay. Um, and I'm probably going to clip this out and use this to explain uh, to people kind of how I operate. I think that's important. It's become clear to me over the last couple of days, at least anyway, that or over the last week or so, that maybe the reason people aren't responding to me as well as I would like them to, or as quickly as I would like them to in some cases, is because they're not fully understanding where I'm coming from. Like, my heart's in the right place, my head's in the right place, because, and I know that that because I see that all the time in messages. That's cool, in comments, and I appreciate that. It's not enough though, right? Because you can know that my head and heart's in the right place, but if you don't think I know what I'm talking about, or that I haven't already experienced what you're attempting to do and know where it's going to lead, uh, then there's not really there's not enough trust. Let's say, I won't say any trust. There's not enough of the trust there for you to get done what you need to get done successfully, right? At least to start. At least to start, and that slows us all down, right? I don't want to slow you down. I want to speed you up. I don't want you to slow yourself down. I want to speed you up. So um, I'm going to say that uh, some people tend to think of me as a hard ass, and I definitely have an instructor streak in me, like a military instructor streak in me. I'll admit, 100%, 100%. Here's when it comes out. It comes out when I see that you're not in alignment with what needs to be done. So if we were in a car driving and I was your driving instructor and you were keeping it between the lines, you probably wouldn't hear me say much, except maybe good job, like the way you handled that turn, that left turn back there, right? I'm not going to give you attaboys all the time, but I'm also not. I'm the first one to give you an attaboy for clients, right? And brag about you. I love bragging about you guys all the time. I do. I really do. It's one of my favorite things to do is to brag about you guys building the business. It puts a smile on my face and it makes me grateful for what I do. Um, Very much so. So I'm happy to do that, right? I enjoy doing that. Whereas maybe most people wouldn't. I do. I find joy in that. My point is though, uh, you're not going to hear me do that every single day. I'm going to be over in that passenger seat. You're going to be driving, and as long as you're keeping it between the lines, we're good. Now you start rubbing up against one of those lines, right? I'm going to be looking at you, evaluating your performance the entire time, and I'm going to start giving you that dad look, that instructor look, like, really, bro? You're going to just ride the line like that? Okay, be aware you're on the line. Some of you just jerk the wheel, just yank right off the road, right? And then when you hit the ditch, it's like, okay, let's break out the cell phone and Call the tow truck, right? The good news for you is the tow truck, I have already anticipated you jerking the wheel, even if you don't. And I've got a tow truck behind us following us around like a support crew, like a road crew, ready to go. It's not like we got to call him and wait an hour or 2 hours. It's not that inconvenient. It's going to be near instant, right? Compared to everything else. Like you jerk it, the wheel and the car goes off the road, we're going to be back on the road in a little while. May take a little bit of time, but again, the whole time though, the car stopped. There's no momentum. You feel it in the business. It sucks. Nobody likes running a car off the road. It's embarrassing, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of shit for you to deal with, right? Fuck your pride, by the way. Could care less about your pride about jerking the wheel on the car into a fucking ditch. I could care less about that. All I care about is for us to get the fucking car back on the road and get moving. You know what I'm saying? And it don't matter what the car looks like when it comes out of the ditch either. So I don't want to hear any bitching and moaning about the dent in your fender either. I could care less. Will the car get to the finish line, to the promised land? That's all we need to care about, folks. That's it. Don't want to hear about you being embarrassed that you didn't do this or didn't do that. Just get moving, right? I'm not gonna. What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna tell everybody from the mountaintops. When's the last time I called somebody out by name that uh, that I wasn't happy with what they were doing, right? Unless someone's just in direct conflict with me on a live stream, which is very, very rare. Nobody's done that yet. Most of us are just embarrassed because of pride. And the thing is, like, we got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere, folks. And there's nothing wrong with making mistakes. We all sometimes, whoops, have a muscle spasm, jerk the wheel, there goes the car, right? The point is, get it back on the road, get moving. Don't worry about how you feel. Don't worry about the fender. Just get moving, right? And like I said, luckily for you, I'm in the passenger seat. I've got the tow truck and riding support right behind us. Can yank us out real quick, no problem, at every point of the journey. So that's the good news. Most people can't say that in terms of helping you and getting you to where you want to be, right? But the bitch of it is this: even with all that support, even with me sitting right there in the seat talking you through the keeping it between the lines, you're still going to have sometimes some of you are still going to have this itching, this scratch, this itch that you need to scratch, this um, not desire, but this 'cause it's not that deep. It's more of an instinctive thing to want to do your own thing first, even though you know to keep it between the fucking lines, like I told you to, right? Just be aware what I told you about the fact that there's a ditch on either side and it's fucking deep, right? And I've seen people run the car off the road and in shame, out of shame, didn't want me to call up the tow truck. So they didn't reach out to me. They didn't look over to me in the passenger seat and said, "Hey, can you call the tow truck up?" Right? And by call them up, I mean call them up and have them pull up and pull you out. I've seen people go 2, 3 months doing that, sitting in a ditch, just sitting in a ditch. And I'm like, okay. But the cool thing is sometimes, not always, sometimes they come back, right? And they actually reach out and they say, "Hey, I'm still stuck in that fucking ditch back there. Can you call a tow truck?" Yeah, sure. Tow truck will be there in 2 seconds. Here you go, right? Um, Grateful to be able to provide that, by the way, as well. Just be aware, like I said, that uh, if you hear me being an instructor, it's because I look at the business that you're building as a livelihood. Now, pretend for a second, if you will, that the business that you're working on building, the agency that you're working on building, pretend for a second, if you can, most people can actually, do your best to envision the business already making $100,000 a month. Profit, $100,000 a month. What would you do to protect that business? Would you protect it from someone with 2FA, right? Would you protect it with your life? A lot of people would because it protects their family, right? Keeps their family going, right? I'm not saying they would all everybody would protect it with life. maybe a little bit too extreme, but you get the point. There's a lot of things you would do to go to bat for that company or that business, that agency that you built that's worth $100,000 a month profit. Yeah, there's a lot you would do for that. There's a lot you would do with that, but more on the protection side. So why is it then, if that's the business you're trying to build, you have to act as if before you have it? I don't mean fake it till you make it, but you need to, because that's not, in my mind, that's not within integrity, and it's also, I feel like, a form of delusion. But what I mean by that is it's not fake it till you make it in terms of acting outwardly to others. Forget that side of it. But I'm talking about, if you want $100,000 business, you need to run $100,000 business before it's $100,000 a month business, right? If that's what you want, you need to be running the business as if it's already that. Not a fake it till you make it, right? That's different. That's what you project outwardly. I'm talking about the business itself, $100,000 a month business. If you want that, you have to start running it today as a $100,000 a month business. You can't do that shit next year when you think it's going to be worth 100,000, or when it does get to the $100,000. Oh, I guess I'm at the $100,000 a month mark. I guess I need to start treating it like it's 100. No, happens before. Everybody knows that. But knowing and acting on what you know, two totally different things. Kind of like I just described. Hey, I'm letting you know these are the lines of the road, and it's like, oh, I know that. Yank the wheel. Fuck, right? So yeah, as an instructor, you see that happen, or you're in the car when that happens. Sometimes you can yank the wheel hard enough that, or drift off the road. Sometimes it's just a drift, right? I'm following the script. I swear I'm following the script. Blah, blah, blah. There we go, off into the fucking ditch, right? And when that happens, sorry about my dramatization of the falling into a ditch, but that's what it would be like. It would be really shitty. Can people die from falling into a ditch in a car crash? Yes. Meaning, can the car be totaled as well? Yes. And the car would represent the business, by the way. So we're talking about the stake of your business, or what's at stake here is the livelihood uh, that you want to create. Whether your goal is $10,000 a month, and by the way, your goal is always going to be more, 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 more. Not because you're greedy, not because you're a capitalist, but because when you reach that $10,000 a month level, you're going to find other things to spend money on, and hopefully, right? I say hopefully. Uh, my goal, rather, is to make sure you spend your money well. Be a good steward of your money and not just spend, 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 right? Invest, reinvest, put money towards good causes, give back to your local community to start, and then outward from there, of course. But none of that happens at staying at $10,000 a month or $100,000 a month. Grow, 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 grow. You should want to, as a good steward of your money anyway, you should want to make the most money because you know it's going to go to the right places. Think about that for a second. You're unhappy with how billionaires spend their money right now? Do something about it. Not them. Do something about it. You do something about it for yourself. In other words, keep your freaking car between the lines like I'm asking you to do. Understand what happens when you don't, and that it could completely kill the fucking business if you don't. Now, early on, because the car's not up to a very fast speed yet, running the car into a ditch is not as life threatening in most cases. Okay, it could still be life threatening to the business, could still total the business there, but it's not as likely. But I'll tell you something: you get half a dozen clients in, you can kill the business very easily by running it off the ditch. So it's, again, if you've ever, and a lot of people have, in fact, I would dare say most do, at least initially. This is why I'm making this point at the end here. Uh, Most people tend to not hear me out on what needs to be done and why, and the importance of it. And so I'm emphasizing the importance of it, um, because of what I know happens and what I've seen happen. I've seen people snuff themselves out before they even got started. I've seen people do it a couple clients in. I've seen people do it a couple dozen clients in. I've seen people do it dozens and dozens of clients in. I've seen people tank $500,000 up a year businesses uh, within a matter of a couple of months. I've seen it all, except I haven't. I've seen almost all of it. Let's say it that way. That would be more accurate. And I'll tell you something, I'm not saying that to brag more than I am saying, man, if there were a driving instructor you would want in the passenger seat and actually want to not just have in the passenger seat, but listen to in the passenger seat, it'd be me. For this business model, it would be me. There's no doubt. And I'm not bragging. I know that that's the case. Now, I don't do you any good if I'm just sitting there and you're not listening and actually doing what we need to do, right? Because if that car doesn't stay between the lines, and it's not like the lines are extreme, it's not we're talking a narrow road here. There's quite a bit of width. So for some of you to drive the fucker off into a ditch, and I say some of you, it's quite a few, at least initially. Um, it's just like most people have to learn that lesson. That's why I'm teaching you this now, or talking about it now, and I'm going to continue to talk about it, and I'm going to make it one of the not forefront, but I'm going to put it at the top of the list of priorities because of what people need to go through and listen to and understand. Because I just feel like so many people run off into the ditch that don't have to. It's unnecessary. It's completely unnecessary. Costs you money, costs you time, means you have to work longer at the 9 to 5 if that's what you're doing, or deal with the problems that you're currently dealing with longer than you have to, should have to. And that's just needless suffering. Why would we continue that? So, um, please listen to your driving instructor. That's all, right? We'll keep it on the road. And if and when you do run it off the road, we can yank you back on, no problem. We've got the support crew following us in a tow truck, right? Just one quick call and he'll pull up and yank us out, right? At the same time, um, if you're proactively driving and not trying to run it off the road, and those of you who drive, which is most of us, will know this. If you're proactively trying not to wreck, how many times do we wreck? Not very often, right? Not very often in life do we wreck a car if we're being proactive and we're actually focused on keeping it between the lines, right? I'm just saying, think about it like that. It should help you out with the perspective of why I teach what I teach, why I ask you to follow the training, be consistent, ask for help. Um, these are all good things that a student driver learns from the driving instructor, you know. And in a lot of cases, this agency, this is so funny, but it's true. This, we're not talking about student driver as in 16-year-old learning to drive for the first time. That might be where you're starting from, but the driving instructor you have has won like every major race there is with the car. He's won the Indy 500. He's won the 24 hours of Le Mans a few times. You know what I'm saying? Like if there was a race driver to learn from as an instructor, it would be me when it comes to this business model, right? Um, and that's yeah. Can I teach you the basics of 10 and 2 and all that? Absolutely, right? How to turn, look, keep between the lines. Yes, parallel park, all that stuff. But as a race driver, that's where we can go. High speed, how to drift, right? How to keep the car running on the ragged edge without actually blowing the engine, which it does take training to do that, while at the same time driving the car to the max it can go uh, on the course that you're driving it. Making sure that you apex at the right time, or don't miss the apex rather. There's so many different things that would go into in that analogy, but the idea is, sure, we start out, here's how to drive, turn the car on, that kind of thing, keep it between the lines. That's how we start. But where we can go, if you listen to me long enough, right? It really is limitless. It really is. But you gotta take that to heart. So hopefully that makes sense. I'll work on that a bit more in terms of explaining it better and faster. But that's where we're at, right? That's what we're dealing with. For those of you asking about attendance, I see Tim's asking about that. I'm going to mark everybody present that's still currently qualified on the list, so don't worry about that. Uh, I'll do that now. And for the record, that's Scott Moody, Jeff Brewer, Steve Taylor, Tim Blank, John Smith, Muhammad, Zakir Hussein, Art Tapman, Adrian Bryan, Jerry Clark, Garrett Amon, Robert Cornick, which I believe I saw all of them. Maybe not. I don't think I saw Garrett on. I could be wrong, but I'm marking everybody anyway because I said I would. Cool. Okay. Looks like I've got some client updates to do on. Oh, wait, John Hackwood. I did update your points. I can confirm. Your total verified revenue is 350, which is only. Remember, it's 300. It's every $100 is 10 points, right? So that's only 30 points. I don't count the 50 yet. If you had another client, for example, though, then you would be at 700 revenue. If you had another $350 deposit, that'd be 700 revenue, and you would get 70 points total for your revenue. So just be aware that 50 points currently doesn't count because it's not at that $100 mark, but it is. $50 is, yeah, but the other 300 does count for 10 points each, so that's 30, plus your 10 points for the verified client rather, and posting it in Facebook, so that's 50 points, right? Total client count for you, 50 points. Total client count's 1, total verified revenue 350, but I do have your results posted in the tracking, and Jerry, I will review your results. Call recordings. So John, Jerry, call recordings, if you have them for the closed client, go to support, not support. They go to the support desk, yes, but they go to success team at ringads.com, okay? And I'll get you sorted on those and confirm with you on these streams daily about your point updates, okay? So that's that. Looking good there. Hopefully everybody understands I'm not trying to be a hard ass. I'm trying to keep us alive in the car, which is your business in this analogy. And these things make a difference. Sometimes they seem insignificant, but they could save our life, right? And I say our life because I'm on the ride with you. I'm on the journey with you. And I swear to God, every time somebody quits, I do die inside a little bit. I have to go when somebody quits, especially when they get involved at a certain level or committed to a certain level. I get emotionally involved. I get attached because I brag about you guys. Maybe I should just be a cold calculating machine or son of a bitch or whatever. Maybe I should be that guy. I don't know. I'm still debating that. I don't think I should be, and I definitely don't want to be. If anything, I would say I'd probably quit doing this and teaching this before I'd become that. But at the same time, I wonder if that's what it's going to take to help more of you succeed and help you succeed faster. Because I'll tell you right now, very few people care about how you feel about something and are able to teach you and process. Like you get a pro racing driver in with a 16-year-old student driver, they're not going to give two shits in most cases how you feel about something behind the wheel or what you think you want to do behind the wheel, right? They don't have the time for it. They don't have the patience for it. I work at that, but I do have it. And again, I just don't see teaching this model successfully without it. So I say maybe that's what it's going to take because most people do tend to respond to that better, it seems. I could be wrong. And it's funny. People still call me a hard ass. Really? Like you guys don't want to see my hard ass side. You know what I mean? Like you don't. And I'm not threatening. I'm just saying uh, I can more than go there. I can go toe to toe with you on many different things. Just don't bother, right? Why do I not bother? Because it's not. What good does it do you? It really doesn't do you any good, right? If I have to be the one to jerk you into line and be that kind of guy about it uh, or about anything, what happens the next time you're ready to jerk the wheel and run us off the road or drift off the road? And I'm not there. guess what's going to happen? You're not going to self-correct. As a driver, as you learn to drive without someone in the passenger seat, right? Teaching you and telling you constantly, hey, you're about to run it off the road. You don't need that after a while when you start driving, after you learn how to drive. You can do that yourself. You can self-correct, right? But not if you're not absorbing what the instructor's teaching you and he's a total asshole, right? So while that may be effective, it's only effective while I'm still breathing. And what happens if I'm not breathing tomorrow? I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying shit does happen. Crazy shit happens in this world. But I'll tell you something, you folks right now have more than enough to build a very successful business and beyond if you take to heart what I'm saying. And if I were to pass away tomorrow or today or whatever, you'd have everything you need except for someone cracking that whip. And if you think I'm cracking that whip, not even close. You guys haven't even seen my whip. All right. Not even close. Um, and I do that again, not to spare you or anything, but to be more productive, I mean, I feel like the carrot is much more enticing than the whip, right? And if anything, I show you not the whip because that would be from me, but I show you what's chasing you, right? The bad things that are chasing you, and then I show you the carrot, and that makes you want to move after the carrot, away from the bad things chasing you. And my whip, I've never broke that out, never will, really won't. I really won't. I won't go there with you because there's no point. You're either going to be able to self-correct or you're not, and I'm going to be able to teach you to self-correct or you're not. And so it's that important. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to drag this on too long, but again, very important points to me that you understand where I'm coming from, what I go through, because it does, like I said, when someone does quit, it does, I do die inside a little bit, absolutely. I wouldn't be human if I didn't feel that, and uh, I'm willing to admit that 100%, 100%. Is there anything I can do about it? Nope, nope. The only thing I can do about it is how do I make my training better, more efficient, uh, easier to absorb. Conversations like this, I hope, do that. That's why I'm going to work on it, clean it up, shorten it up, and put it in a concise message that are sound bites that people can absorb faster and better. But again, I don't even know if that's going to do it any justice or not because people are ultimately going to do what they're going to do. The thing is, I just know it's going to run it off the road in a lot of those cases when it comes to this model. I just hate to see that. That's all. Hate to see that happen to you. Don't be that guy. I say that a lot nowadays, right? Don't be that guy that thinks it's not going to happen to you because I promise you those lines are very real and those ditches are very real and that shit hurts. That shit hurts. Not just me. You're the one driving. If anything, it's going to hurt you more than anybody, right? So take that for what it's worth. Focus on the business. Uh, find the gratitude. A lot of you are doing very well on that, by the way. Very proud of you. A lot of you are doing well in the business. Even the ones that don't have clients yet, I'm very proud of all of you. You've been working hard. You've been doing the right shit. You've course corrected, got your mind right. It's an ongoing thing, though, right? Just a friendly word to the wise, friendly warning. Um, it is an ongoing process, but a lot of you have started it, and I acknowledge that. I recognize that. I appreciate that, and I'm grateful for it, and I'm happy that you're doing it. I'm proud of you. All those things. Um, I can't wait to see more. You know, and I know there will be because of what you're doing. So good. Keep that up. Keep that focus where it needs to be. Get to doing and understand that there's going to be some things that you struggle with, right? And it's hard enough to keep it between the lines as it is without the struggle, without or with the struggle. So focus on what I'm asking you to do. You'll get through the struggles very quickly, very quickly, and look back at it and laugh, right? Man, I can't believe I didn't understand how the clutch worked back then, kind of shit, right? Or how to shift gears. Now it's like you can shift gears in your sleep. Just one of those things. Just one of those things. So, all right, I'm out of here. Let me just last check on comments. Steve Taylor, great call. Just what I needed. Thanks so much, William. You guys got a bunch of smiley faces. What's up with all the smiley faces? I love it. Did I say something good? Did I say something good? Hopefully I did. Anyway, I love you guys. I really do. And I am grateful for you. Let me look at the camera when I say this. There we go. I am very grateful for you. I am here to help. Let's get busy together. And I'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. We'll jam this thing out. Okay? All right. Bye for now.
Cool. UFO. Back on my shit with a new advantage. I leave it up to you to settle the damage. Diamond, yeah, I know it's foreign to him. I came from the guts of rural Alabama. Steph Curry wrist, watch with the handle. Simple motors, gotta lead by example. Not too many make it out when they doubt. Never been about bailing off of my route. Rain gang, got the city HD. Hate to see my brother die every week. Numb to your vision. My life got me too fucked up. Disrespect to make a nigga go dumb. Little talking while you nursing that bitch and turn you to a scrub. I let prices from the plug. Bay Shore, Ocean View, or win Adidas with the boots. Niggas out here slinging arbitrage, so the money really no excuse. Welcome to the realm.